It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here are your hosts,
Yeah, man, but I didn't know much about you till these guys started mentioning you, and they said you had a different format, so I started checking out your podcast, and yeah, it's really nice. I mean, it's really cool, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you doing it. I'm glad that we're getting the chance to sit down and talk.
Yeah, man, I mean, there's so much to talk about.
There is, Ter'ell. And one of the reasons why you and I don't really know each other is because of these weird separate worlds.
They're separate worlds, and indeed they are. I'm an anomaly. I kind of travel between them.
Yeah,
but
you do.
Yes, and so I've been preaching that for a long time in Austin, Mm-hmm.
Well, let's hear some more. Let me ask you, first of all, how have you been feeling the last couple of weeks?
Man, you know what I feel like? I feel like what I imagine it feels like. Because I've had some rough stuff in my life, I feel, on a small scale. But on a big scale, I imagine this is what people in war feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like all the anxieties and, the wrong messages in the main narratives that have been that way for a while now, and how easy it is. It's just too easy to manipulate all of us. And so it's just very disheartening. I try not to be depressed about it, but I mean, I think what it is that, I do have God in my life. And I think that that's a big thing, a big difference I know the chapters, so I feel different. Yeah.
Were you raised that way in the church?
I was raised that way, but then I left and I went to a whole bunch of different religions on purpose and joined them kind of like a person would that was just going to try to go into them. I wanted to hear it from the inside. I'm a weirdo like that.
I don't think that's, I think that's actually the sanest thing I've heard in a long time as far as like choosing a religion.
And so I realized everybody was using the same script. Yours.
Yeah.
And they just didn't like Christ. So anyway, in any math equation, you can't take half the formula and get a correct answer at the end of that trigonometry or calculus equation. So, I choose the entirety. I study a lot of that now, even books that are taken out, or even just, conversations that were going on at the time. And I just think it's a good thing that everybody should try it,
Yeah, having some kind of like grounding thing and something to believe in and some sort of faith gives you a power to sort of take on the day every day. Is that right?
I mean, you would have to you have to imagine the courage of the characters, and imagine the character of everybody that was all brown in the first place, leading back to the first people. Everything is upside down and reverse in the end.
Right.
It must be brought back to its proper position. It's all the same in physics. It's the same in batteries. It's the same in truth everywhere.
Is there some passage in the Bible that you feel connects with what's happening now very, very clearly? Is there like a certain one that you can name?
Yeah, you know what? With? Yeah, I gave you that as a title to this thing, man, because I think where I'm coming from.
Wait, what was the title real fast? Sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
The title I wanted was like, my people suffer for their lack of knowledge.
Right. Okay.
And you'll have to find it because I'm not one of those guys that can say I know it's in scripture, and I can't tell you exactly where it is. You'll have to just like Google the phrase and you'll.
All right.
You know.
What does that mean to you right now? My people suffer for their lack of knowledge.
Well, the whole thing goes like this. Actually, the whole scripture runs like this. My people suffer for their lack of knowledge, and because they reject knowledge, so shall I reject them. It's a very startling piece if you think about it from God speaking. And from where I'm coming from, I mean, everybody's talking about that's what our reach is, right? Trying to be gods through knowledge. That's what I don't dig about here. I think it's ridiculous. But and then you reject the knowledge. So now you're on the playing field. And he's saying, all right, now you're on the playing field. So behold, I send you out as sheep amidst the wolves. Therefore, be as wise as the serpent and as gentle as a dove. The instructions. I mean, it's just very simple if you just break that down into, don't think too hard. That's what I think's wrong with it. Thinking too hard. Like, listen to the words.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of this. It's very easy to deceive people. Most people don't even know what they're looking at, what you're looking through. What are we looking through right now? We're looking through these screens, these black mirrors. It's interesting. But anyway.
It's funny when you say that, do people know what they're seeing? And you said earlier, the people in the Bible were brown people. And
that's hilarious.
I was talking with Jackie Venson yesterday, and I was talking about how I, as a white person, have walked through this life with a whitewashing of history. And then once you kind of get hip to there's been a whitewashing, kind of start looking behind the corner of stuff, and you're like, wait a minute.
Right.
And like the easiest way to start thinking that way is just go, where was Jesus born? He was born in Jerusalem.
Right. Just think about the geographic thing that every historian agrees is accurate.
Yeah. Have you ever...
Now, let's just stick with the geographical. We all agree this is 100. Right. Okay, so let's just look at where he's born. You guys don't, you don't have to be that confused, right? It's kind of simple once you start just breaking it down into what's happening, where it is, it speaks for itself, really.
Yeah, there's not a lot of blue-eyed white dudes walking out of Jerusalem. Not a lot of that going on.
That's before the mixtures and all that.
Yeah. Sure.
Straight up,
Well, that's a straight up. Everyone can pretty much agree that that's a true thing, and if that's something that we've accepted,
right. So those who are hearing their ancestors, I guess you should be hearing Christ too. Then,
yeah.
So anyway, but that's just my take on it. My attitude towards it is different. Like I said, my feeling about what's going on in the world is very spiritual. It's the only truth I see. We don't read each other's books. See, I know y'all don't because I read yours and I can start quoting yours and you can't quote the ones. It's the biggest book report without reading the book. People do a lot of book reporting on scripture.
Yes.
They barely know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. How can you have such attitude with so little understanding?
Yeah. Yeah, I see that thrown around a lot in the people that have the race, the racism in them that are somehow following in their minds the word of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not listening to what the man said.
No, and this was the separation of us in high school. And by the way, it may take offense. I try not to be too offensive, man, like in a direct way. But I'm saying as a people, as a society, I went to college and I kind of dipped into sociology. What we do is a big herd of people.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I don't know. When you watch what's going on and how easy that is to do, to move a whole bunch of people. And we've done it over and over, like in the history, like rise out of people through emotional states. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, we all did it. We went to school. We just wanted to get out of school. We didn't really want to study.
Yeah.
We wanted to leave. We wanted to get out, go party. So I don't know. We're pointing a lot of different directions. My attitude to the whole human race of people is that you first of all, you need to even know who you are.
Exactly.
Know what it is you're even talking about. Like, from the beginning of it. How can we have a conversation?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I started to realize that as I was going through my life and going into different things and my experiences and really it burst my bubble in a lot of different places going through these different, areas of life. It made you you have to see truth. You have no choice in certain instances. And so the last few weeks, I've just felt like I'm trying to keep myself from feeling like a depressing person in the company of other people. I'm trying not to bring other people into this space because that is also part of the plan, is to keep everybody in negative energy. And it's very effective. He's very effective to keep this demonic spirit, this darkness we talk about. It's very subtle. Sometimes the goal might not be the goal you're thinking about. This is why you have to be as wise as the serpent. I just don't think anybody's taking that into consideration. That's what I feel like, overall. The last few weeks, I feel like we've been doing exactly what you would expect.
On what level?
On the
can
level.
You describe that?
If I do this action over here, the reaction on the other side should be in some form or fashion aligned with my instigation. Now, one of my friends that watch this, they're gonna be like, man, don't talk about us like this. But anyway, when we were in high school, we were some pranksters, man. Like, and there was a dude named Walter Holmes. Sorry, Walt. You didn't go by that name anyway, so nobody will know what I'm talking about. But anyway, and this fool here, his whole thing in school, man, was get people to start fighting each other. So he would make up stuff, man. I mean, it would just be completely just bull crap, man. I mean, like, hey, man, so-and-so said your mama was, this way and that one, and so-and-so daddy making she's a hoe, man. And he was saying your mama all kinds of hoes and everything, and then the two. Oh my God, this is so wrong. And then so the guy, he, without question. I mean, sometimes they wouldn't even really question. They would go back and he would get him in his space and he would say, man, what you doing? I heard you talk about me. My mom. And the guy has no idea what those two was talking about. But now Walter's been in his ear, and he's like, man, he's over here like making up stuff like he just wanted to fight you, bro. Like he just thinks he could take you out.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, and how many fights he started from just like doing that kind of stuff. I mean, and that was without internet. That was without TV. That was just in the same high school, messing around at lunchtime between classes.
Yeah.
So I don't think we really know what we're up against. That's what I think. I think we're distracted with a lot of reality that is messed up on purpose. Like it's like there's a bigger thing to this. There's a bigger social experiment going on than I think we understand.
Do you have any idea what that would be?
I do. I just don't talk about that a lot because I just don't like dealing with the whole conspiracy theorist thing. I tend to not say as much as my stepmother told me this recently. She said, "Don't tell people everything you know."
Don't give it all away, man.
She said, "Don't tell people everything you know." So we were talking about a few things, some places I've been that other people probably haven't been. Some friends I have, and maybe other people don't have. The world looks different from behind the veil than it does to the consumer and the people in front of the screen.
I understand that, yeah.
And so if you're already participating behind the veil, or if you have ever participated behind the veil, then you already know what I'm talking about. Every single person that's listening will say, yeah, man, I mean, there's manipulation. I met a guy named Bert Padell when I was on the road out there, and when the record labels took me to this dude, and I was talking to him, I realized without even knowing it, I didn't have to know all the write-ups, so I didn't have to do any research, just from where he was and who he was at the top of that Manhattan building in New York. Ben Vereen was across the hall from him. I remember that because that was weird. I was like, is that Ben Vereen? I mean, of all the people, that's very odd. Anyway, but he told me some things, and some of the things he told me were so in your face that, you can't unhear it. I mean, you just can't unsee or unknow that he was like, dude, I can take two people, one with a whole lot of talent and one that sucks, pump them in this machine and get 38 million copies out of both of them.
Yeah. Because
I own the TV, I own the radio, I own the red carpet. He was going on the building I'm in, that we're in with all the record labels. It's just a different understanding, man.
Let me ask you this. Did you grow up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was born in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
I've been here since I was 2 years old in Austin.
Okay.
My mom's an educator. She taught at the high school and then at the college I went to.
What did she teach?
Well, she taught math. She was a math teacher, but and then my dad who passed away. He was director of Texas Education Agency, but he also taught school too before that. So I came up here in Austin, but I was kind of it was weird because I was one of 4 black families in an all white neighborhood, like the first suburban, like black, yeah. And so I had a lot of interesting stories. I mean, it was very different to know things in another way, not the way I'd expected, I don't know why I would expect anything being a kid, but, the racism, for instance, in that neighborhood was not unified. I had one brother fighting his own brother in the same household in front of my house, fist fighting each other to the almost to the death,
Yeah.
These are 2 white boys in the same house. I mean, growing up the same way. One wants to be my best friend. The other one is racist. It was just a very interesting thing. It wasn't like all the white folks were this way. It was like, wow, I had like a gang of white boys. Like,
even in the same house is what you're saying. There's 2 completely different ideologies.
Different ideologies, man, completely from person to person throughout that suburb. So I don't know. I have some thoughts where I have to say to me, there's only rational people and irrational people. There's good people and there's evil people.
Yeah.
And I've seen evil people everywhere. And they're the loudest and they're the most ambitious. The first ones to jump up,
Yeah.
I mean, it's always like that, because we don't have the same good people by default have an issue with ambition because we're not viewing being over another.
Right.
So you already, you don't have the driving force of I gotta be on top.
Right.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. Can I ask you with the level of involvement in education that your parents had? I imagine being a good student was pretty important in your house, huh?
Well, I was a straight A student, like I said, in honor classes. And one of the things you were mentioning earlier, going back to that about people not, we can read the same thing. I understand that. And we can say we're going to get different things out of it and be nice about that. That's real sweet. But that's the difference between honors English and regular English in high school.
Yeah.
That just means it's not an interpretation. You just don't comprehend as well.
Yeah.
Because we all got the same answer up here in honors class.
Yeah.
So the reason you didn't get the same answer is not a matter of accept you as you are and, whatever. This other stuff people are doing to make it acceptable. I don't accept that. I don't accept that from black people. I don't accept from white people. I just don't accept it. I said, by the time I usually leave places, nobody likes me. Because I don't like them. I'm just being real. I mean, I don't like you so spiritually and intellectually lazy. How about that?
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
Someone says something to me, I'm checking it out, even when I'm watching a movie or whatever. I wonder why they zoomed in on that book. Google. Oh, look at there. Some kind of crazy Luciferian mess. Whatever. But the point being, but if I tell you that you can see, Britney Spears flashed her coochie getting out of the car.
I don't know where this is going, but this is good.
Y'all would Google that right now. That's real. I'm just saying, I could beg people to look at information. I do beg people to look at information.
Yeah.
And none of them want to look at it. And they lie and they tell me they did. And then they come and they talk to me later on. They say, I don't understand why, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I thought you watched this. I thought you read so-and-so. Huh?
Yeah. So Britney Spears flashes her coochie getting out of the car.
Yeah, so tell me about that again. Now, where is it at? I can't find it on the internet right now.
Oh. I thought you were gonna use that as some kind of analogy for something.
No, it's just that what people would search for.
Oh, right. Okay.
Look for that. So if I ask you to look for Britney Spears flashing her coochie, I will have no problem.
Right, and that's the first thing. Yeah,
everyone will get it, share it. We'll all be laughing, clicking, liking.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. When I heard that there was a photo of Lenny Kravitz's wiener because his pants ripped,
right? I
always wondered, like a guy that's as badass as Lenny Kravitz, does a wiener match the man? So I went and looked immediately.
Right. Well, we want real dumb stuff. I mean, Janet Jackson's movie fell out. You got the. I'm actually sorry. I've never been an entertainer anyway. Like, I've always been an artist. I've never been no Bobby Brown dance hammer pants on stage type of brother, So it's all good. Everybody to each his own. But my point was, artists really suffered the most in this whole thing because artists weren't really looking at it from a glorified idol, American Idol standpoint. We don't want you to man. I'm not nobody's God. In fact, it causes me not to even want to put my imagery in my music video of me, because that's the whole point. We've lost touch. We've lost touch. We're living in fantasy world and movies and stuff right now. We're not really holding on to anything organic.
You don't feel like since in the last 2 weeks, sort of this sustained protest movement and what looks like to me, at least some sort of like the wheels of change are starting to turn. Do you feel that way?
I like that part. That part gives me where I hate to, I'm not a pessimist, but as a realist.
Sometimes a realist makes everyone mad in a room. Maybe that's what it is, man.
Nobody likes me. I'm telling you, as a realist, I have to say,
This is all making me like you more, so I don't know what this is.
For people that like truth, it's wonderful for us.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to go move out in the mountain or something, but the bottom line, the 3 wise men came down from the mountains. Let's remember, you might need to do that. Because if you tell somebody about sustained combat, those 2 words, see, they're going to create sustainable war, which means you're going to need sustained combat. And what I'm talking about is not just in a field of fighting out with your physical body, but who's going to go down there to follow the policy changes through their proper channels all the way through to their destination, make sure the change actually happens, watch over that change, and do that perpetually and continually henceforth. Because as soon as you let go of it, which is what my father and my mother and them realized, is you get a little, you make a little progress, and everybody gets happy. And we go back to our Mercedes-Benz, and we go back to our house mortgage, and we go back to being slaves to the jobs, we go back to doing what I've done, the hustle bustle, and nobody's at City Hall. And I can tell you that for those of y'all that have been on the Music Commission, God bless you, I was on the Music Commission for 3 years. Everybody should serve before you start saying anything. Everybody should, go feel the thankless job of that. And I changed the law, a busking law. They were arresting musicians that had their cases open and playing and stuff, and they were calling them panhandlers. And you had Brandon Temple on before, and Brandon Temple got arrested before, like disregarding a barricade and all kind of crazy stuff. And so anyway, I went. I didn't want to be in politics. I hate politics. I hate them too. I don't really like the way that they function there. But if you're not at the table, then let me tell you, I guarantee you're on the menu.
Yes.
If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Isn't that a mafia phrase?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's real. And that's what your government is. And that's what your local government is, a mafia, because it comes down to how they do it, and it's legal though. See, they do things that it's not necessarily illegal what we're talking about. We're talking about the regulation or the deregulation has gotten to be so far as you keep the lines gray a lot in deregulation. You can do a lot of stuff. Yeah. Right now, we're in an arena that I'm speaking about that is not of any interest to any artistic person right now. They don't care about it. That's not about playing music. This is not about gig, what you're going to wear, how you're going to impact. I mean, all this stuff I'm talking about is a bunch of paperwork and numbers and arguments and development plans and right.
It's a bunch of busy work.
Right.
But those are the things that, I'm sorry, but go ahead. I didn't mean to.
That's what my concern is. I want to see it go to its end if it's going to be that way in the first place. If we're going to go into a system that has never served us, not a day.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep going back to the same devil begging, which I'm not a fan of.
I'm not either.
I believe you have to follow it to its end to get anything out of that. And there is no end.
You don't
so
think... Sorry, go ahead.
You'd have to stay in the game. Like we'd have to have people, just like lobbyists, like everything else. We'd have to have like musician people like in the game, like politically. I mean, that's what they do all day. This is what they do, is make sure they protect our interests and watch over. I mean, that's like an all day, every day job, man.
Isn't that what Nakia's organization is doing now, if I'm not mistaken?
If that's what they're doing, then that's what I'm saying. That's what's required. Yeah, that's what's required. But are we doing it even knowing if we're going to be able to open back up to have anything to worry about? We're in a weird position. I'm also concerned with that theory. A guy named Preston Lowe. Well, I'm going to show you something that happens in race. When they're getting ready to sell a place, they do a lot of cool stuff so that the numbers get high.
Right.
So like a radio station, Preston Lowe ended up getting fired for this. I think he passed away, man, for some reason. But anyway, this dude was at a radio station. He put him on blast. Like, okay, this station, they won't play any of our stuff. Well, we complain about it, and all of a sudden they start doing what we like. And we get all excited. Oh my God, this happened with B93 radio station. This happened with a few other radio stations I could name for old Austinites, 20-year plus. Those stations were coming and going that we saw even on the AM stations, because they would stay with this format that did not serve us for a long time. Then all of a sudden they would play local stuff and actually give us time of day in our own city. And then they would, put, music that was more urban into the playlist, and everybody would tune in. And that was because they were going to sell it.
And they were going to sell it to someone that was just going to change it?
Yeah, because, they don't care what they're going to do with it. They just need, when you make a sale in business, you need the numbers to look high for another person to purchase it and feel like they're getting a good deal out of that purchase. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, to bring the numbers up, you use the people to bring the numbers up. We're used for that a lot of times. We're used, and they give us something to pacify us when they're selling.
I.e., letting you finally play on the radio, or playing your jams on the radio. Right. That you've been fighting for, and then it's just to sell it, and once again, you're back at square one.
And then there's nothing there anyway. They've milked it dry.
Right.
They're selling Hollywood to China right now. Or already have.
That literally sounds like an opening line of a song, by the way.
Right.
They're selling Hollywood to China right now. Whoever writes it first. I'll give you credit.
Lyricists, go on ahead, put it on there now. Somebody write me a song. But I mean, look, man, it's just what it is. It's the way the game is played. I'm not sure y'all really know the opponent yet. And that's what I'm talking about. You should know your opponent. You should know a little bit more about how they play. You should know a little bit more about how they get down before you come in doing things. That's just my opinion. I feel it's a good time for people to really learn as much as possible about the setup around you.
That's the mode I'm in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me just ask you real quick. By the opponent, do you mean like the white supremacist system?
I mean, they're in there. They're lumped into evil. Okay. Sure, white supremacists are lumped into evil.
No, but I just mean the way that the system is set up to
I just use evil instead of a color because it's not a color. Right. I mean, again, what bloodline is white? I never heard that bloodline in my life. What bloodline is black? I never heard of black bloodline.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Mine goes back to, I think, Nigeria and Jamaica combination. But anyway, we're programmed. You may not know it, y'all. The program.
Yeah.
Program. So, and when people talk about that, people get mad. Everybody wants to believe, and they're still picking the side of two wings that are controlled by the same puppeteer.
It's true.
That's the truth.
Would you say that about like just as a broad example, Democrats and Republicans? Yeah,
done. Yeah. Both sides Masons. Yeah. Brotherhoods, all Yale, Harvard. It's the same.
Yeah.
And that's something you don't have to work hard to do. That just means if you don't look it up, what it means is you're spiritually and intellectually lazy. That's what it means.
Yeah. So let me ask you this.
Right.
Let's talk about our community. Do you mind doing that? Or if there's other stuff you want to talk about, the floor is totally yours.
I mean, because it all really goes together. That's the thing about it. Everybody thinks they're talking about separate things, but it's all one control system.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, let's talk about the music portion in Austin. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah, and just kind of like your personal experience in it. When did you start playing out?
Man, so I kind of came out around the time Brandon did. We went to high school around the same time, and we had like all city jazz, all city. We were those. I was that kind of nerd. Like I was in, symphonic band. Jazz.
Were you doing the sax at that point?
Yeah, I always. That was my my original axe as the saxophone. And anyway, we started coming out on the street. We were like, I guess we both had the same idea. We were just kind of wanting to see what was going on. And the street was completely like anybody who hasn't been here longer than 20 years, you can't imagine.
When you say the street, you mean 6th Street, right?
All of it, yeah, 6th Street. Just the whole
yeah.
Let me put it to you like this.
Okay.
Try to imagine us in a town playing gigs all week, 6-7 days a week. You're working through agencies. You're not talking to venues on your own. You got agencies that are taking care of this stuff. And you're begging to have time off, actually. You're overbooked, actually. You're tired. And they're all paying almost the same scale. To be honest with you, sometimes they were paying better than they're paying today, and that's real wrong. And somebody could ask you to go out of town, and you might say no because you have so many gigs in Austin, and you could play that many places and still not repeat. You could play for a week, 2 weeks, never repeat a venue. You know, I don't know. We were very spoiled. We were extremely.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I have a different sort of view of that. I believe that, there's not really any town where you can really do that forever.
Like, I mean, not for real. You can't, like, and that's one of my friends said that. One of my homeboys, Yogi, what's up, Yogi? He was like, this can't last forever. Like this. At the time, I didn't understand it. I was like, what do you mean? I'm gonna mess with this? This is like, it's making too much money. It's, I was talking the same way venue owners were talking to me when they didn't believe it was happening at the city. But I sounded like them once upon a time. Yeah, they're not gonna touch this. It's making too much money. Look at this. Every night it's packed. Everywhere we play, it's crazy. Okay, I'm paying for all the bills. I mean, I'm making money. Like I'm a kid. I'm paying for my own apartment, car, my girlfriend's car. Your attitude is a little bit, different. And I that's the part I don't miss, because I think that we really didn't understand what we were dealing with. But that was the Austin we came up in, and we were studying and we were watching bands that were making money, and we were watching how they put their bands together. And I joined a band of older guys. We were all too young to be in the venues, but they brought us in to, like Brandon ended up playing for the Business.
Yeah.
And like the main drummer, which you don't understand as a kid, we were like, "What the oh?"
Yeah.
It's Brandon.
Anyway, just real quick for my own knowledge, I recall seeing you guys. Maybe the first time I saw you, maybe the first time I saw Brandon. Didn't you guys used to do Toulouse?
Mm-hmm.
In the early 90s?
Toulouse was a very, very hot spot, man. It was crazy. Like all the good bands played through that. And later on, Overlord actually worked there, who passed away, but was our, big hero of Austin. Oh, I broke him. We broke him in, the people that were here at the time, and into being able to come into live music venues, because they had no hip hop, and if it wasn't for Overlord, there wouldn't be any in any of those venues, period. So it was kind of like, it made it okay once they realized it wasn't going to like go straight to like super ghetto, and like people weren't going to come out with guns and start shooting up their venues or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I remember that because I remember like by 93, then I was in a band that did play and even had weekly stuff, but we still traveled all the time and stuff. So I wasn't too in tune with stuff, but I always wondered, like, why isn't there's no rap? Like there's no hip hop whatsoever happening on 6th Street. First time I ever saw it happening there was when AJ and those guys brought Don into Steamboat, and I'm like, hey, there's a guy. Where'd you find this guy? You know what I mean?
And some people believe Overlord's career started then.
Yeah, I know.
He's 5 records deep by that time.
I know.
Anyway, I'm just saying, me and Yogi did a lot of the first records, and then there was October was done by a completely different group of white guys that actually were friends. And he came into Austin. And one of the guys and his friends passed away, and he did this record, October. So he was telling me, man, I can't get anywhere. I can't get in, he's coming to St. Louis. I can't get anywhere. And the brothers won't play with me. And I said, well, you know what? Actually, that might be a good thing, because unfortunately, as James Robinson said in his podcast, when he did it with you, go look around. I know it's not something people think about, but go watch. Go looking like Continental. And see if you see an all black band anywhere. You're gonna see a black guy in the front. You're gonna see a black lead singer, and you're gonna see a bunch of white guys around him. And there's nothing wrong with that as far as the playing. I'm just simply telling you that's what's okay. That's what will get you in the gigs, and it won't get as much resistance that way.
Yeah. And I know there's some stuff I've talked to Bevis about just historically that I remember, like when MTV first, or when Living Color first played on MTV and stuff, there was like this thing like, and next up, Living Color, an all black rock band.
Like they couldn't believe it, as if we didn't do that already. Like,
yeah, but you don't say that when U2 comes on, like, hey, here comes U2, an all white rock band.
White rock band.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of a weird sort of like, why do you even need to announce that?
No, and what's funny is it's like they're acting like we didn't create rock too.
That's exactly right.
I mean, like, it's funny how they bring it back to us like it's the, look what we got. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah, we gave it to you.
like Hendrix put that pedal out first, right? And I get it. But anyway, no, it's just that attitude of, but that's the program. So what I'm trying to tell people is the program has worked on everybody. It's worked on white people. It's worked on black people.
Yeah.
Because white people have been sold something and they don't know anything. And they're completely, at the mercy of this disinformation. And then, we're not at the mercy of it. I'll take that back. We're lazy. Again, we got used to watching television. We got used to radio, things being brought to us. The scriptures ask us to seek. That's an outgoing thing. That's like you go
actively. Yeah.
Actively go and see if that's happening over there. You go get it yourself. And this is what I was trying to tell people. There's there's a book club thing I created where we're kind of like studying. That's what we're doing. We're studying a lot, and we're studying a lot of things, even law, maritime law, things like that. I can tell you that both parties don't know where they live, white or black. I can tell you they don't know what the laws really are saying. I can tell you that no one's equipped right now to combat the conspiracies that have happened and the corruption that have happened in these governments across the world, especially ours. You must be equipped to know where you're shooting when you go in after those targets. You need to know what mechanisms to go after. So, for example, this one lady was trying to explain to, I don't know if it was Atlanta or Houston or wherever, but this one lady was trying to explain on NPR radio station the other day that she was trying to encourage people not to just change police chiefs, because that's not the problem, actually. So, again, she's trying to hand over some information, very valuable information, as to where to point your assault, your attack, so that you can stop pointing it in a place that does not deliver you the goods you're looking for. She's saying, and I know this for a fact, I've myself been arrested wrongfully a couple of times. I've had to go to internal affairs, but here's the problem. When you go to internal affairs, as she pointed out, was it's internal. It says internal affairs, like it's an internal system. And you might make it that far and they may have to put it in, and the chief may have to say, okay, this is a valid complaint. And he's going to turn it over to a company that's, if they can't stop it there, if they can't stop it in internal affairs, they're going to take it to arbitration. Now, arbitration is internal also. Again, she's trying to explain to people who don't understand what all these terms and words and all this stuff mean, and nobody wants to care to look it up. But arbitration is happening prior to court. You're not at court yet. So in arbitration, they'll overturn the complaints. The complaint never hits court. It never gets in front of a judge. It never actually hits the open court. She was trying to point out, go after this. This is the spot you want to get rid of right here. If you're going to keep the police funded, then you're going to want to change this whole policy mechanism right here I'm pointing at. And she's giving it to you on the platter. But what we do is we go after things that are very on TV. I believe it's a lot of, we go after the police chief. We do a lot of stuff that's sensational. It's all on television. But how effective is it, like you were talking about, for long-term change, stuff that's going to be here, 50 years, I want to see that. Now that's my thoughts on whether it's a musician's, group or whatever, it must be a long-term game, because that's the only way to control a system. I mean, you have to stay in that system, like on it, like all day, just every day, just grinding. Or you have to be completely separate from that system at all and don't talk to it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what, y'all are good. We got this. And how about we just don't, we got our thing. We're going to have our own deal. And then we have to fight for that. You have to fight for your own space within a country, or within a city. Neither way either way you're going to fight. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like right now, I don't see people relinquishing the hold they have on society, whether it be from a national standpoint or a local standpoint, unless they're selling it or they're throwing it away already.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's my concerns with looking at it. So I like to watch things really closely. I think everybody, I get mad like everyone else, but my thought is to get very still and to get very quiet and study very carefully so that my next moves are very tactical and they strike at things that are very important. I think once we're all moving like that, I think we'll have everyone's strict attention.
How do we get everybody moving like that, Ter'ell?
Unfortunately, the sad news is discomfort.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are uncomfortable now. I've been uncomfortable for a couple weeks.
Right.
Why?
It's sad. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying this. I mean, you're right.
You just
it seems like everybody can, all of a sudden we can hear. People didn't, I couldn't start this group that I'm in right now when I was begging for it 10 years ago. It wasn't important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's uncomfortable right now, so it's important. That's also a problem. That's reactionary. And so we'll have to stop reacting. You're already late to the party when someone plots against you. You weren't there for the plot, so you're already late.
Yeah. Or you've been taken off the menu.
That's right. That's right. That's right. They're ordering you up. They're getting ready to fillet you up, man. Yeah. I mean, So, and what's sad about it is even if you have the best intentions, you're still going to do it. And this is what's really weird. You can go in some of these neighborhood groups. I saw them when I was down there, and they were very annoying at the city hall. I mean, they cry about everything, but you can learn something from them. You can learn something from them because they get what they want, and they get what they want because they're doing what I'm talking about. Like, they are constantly in their face all day. Those neighborhood groups are just, grinding it out on them, Very annoying people. But if you can learn like how they do things, it's just it's a matter of fact, it's straight to the point. Stay on the laws. My thing is, I don't see how we're going to get our minds that way until we get uncomfortable enough. These people like push you in a corner where now you have no choice. I've been harassed so many times loading and unloading gear, Oh my God. I'm just one of those very standoffish people. So for me, I actually challenge, I go right in on the cop to let him know that, well, there are going to be 2 dead people. I mean, that's what's going to happen. But I just mean that sincerely. I don't say it as a threat. I just tell them I'm not going to sit here and let you do whatever that is you're getting ready to do. I gotta let you know I'm gonna move just right with you. I'm gonna be dancing.
That just scared me, by the way.
Right.
That how calmly you said that.
And they usually back off immediately. They usually are, okay, you know what? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ever since I've been that way, I've never been touched. But when I was saying, yes, sir, no, sir, try not to be offensive, I was treated very rough when I was young. I found that to be very disheartening. Why should it be that I have to be mean or, some type of way about, I have to be ready to die for them to pay attention and listen and go, okay, I'm gonna back off, you know. And you know, when you're on the back row with me as a one-on-one with a cop, I'm not a normal small little dainty dude in the music industry. I push 450, you know, any day on a bench press or whatever. It's one of those type of things like, you know, he's not going to really be in good hands on his own, and I'm trained. Yeah. So, and I think we should be trained. I think it's unfortunate, but you know, people make fun of Klan and militias and all the people out there because they look crazy. I mean, and they are crazy. But, but I'll tell you what's not crazy. What's not crazy is being trained, being ready, you know, and that's what I'm trying to get us to do just in general. Let's just be ready. If it's on a platform of music, people doing our own thing and taking care of our own and doing everything for ourselves and creating our own world or bubble or whatever that is, then so be it. You know, sometimes we have to look at it from a standpoint of fortifying and you know, taking a stand against something without they're not going to necessarily always approve of you. You know, you're not going to get approval all the time. You're not going to get someone to accept you. Again, I just don't look at it that way. I don't need anybody to accept me. And so it's very interesting because some people see me and I'm married to a Native American white woman combination. And in general, I can tell you right now, most folks, when they see that, they typically think some black dude is following or galloping behind some white girl because he thinks she's more golden than black women or something crazy like that.
Right.
And some of them are crazy like that, to just be real. Some of these black dudes. I mean, I have met the ones y'all are talking about in my circles. I know what you're talking about. But that does not represent all people that date in some other races. As a matter of fact, all kings did it. I'm more of a king teacher. Solomon, black king. Solomon, you know, he couldn't even believe it that he was going to not have all them concubines and wives and going to get one wife. He told God. That's one time he questioned God. Are you sure, God? Anyway, but anyway, the point is, you know, he sent, and it was some woman from another land. She was from Ethiopia. You know, these are people from different places, different bloodlines, different races, and you know, that's always been when the creator of all things and all this and all that, ALL, that means everybody. You know, it's a mindset. I actually brought what I wanted into the situation with my relationship with my wife and with her family. You know, truth be told, I've had to whip a couple down before. But, you know, that has nothing to do. That's them. That's them. That's those people.
Right.
You know, but I've also had to whip a couple brothers down. I mean, a lot, actually. And so I just don't like people that are ignorant. I found in my experience, I just don't like people that are loud and stupid at the same time. And so I became a bully of bullies when I was young in high school. We got on the street. Me and Brandon was like 15, 16 years old. I mean, you know, probably like 16 years old. You know, so we started playing on the street, and we saw how it was going down with like the business and a few other bands. Charlie Red had some stuff, people out of San Antonio. You know, Ray Vaughn and all these cats that we knew out of San Antonio that were coming into town, and Trick Tracks and all these other bands. It was like, it was weird. Like there were so many bands, and there was still two cliques of that. You had the cover bands and you had the original bands, and you still had not much cross going on.
Yeah.
In there. You know, what I do is stuff that you're not supposed to do. In fact, Charlie Red was one of the first I saw do it. I never understood why it didn't happen, but he started playing originals on his gig where he played covers finally. And I was like, thank God. I knew I wasn't crazy. Like, you know, is there something wrong with doing that? Well, today it probably is something wrong with doing that. But back in the old Austin, we had smarter listeners. And so I say old Austin is gone, not just in the sense of music and venues, but it's also gone in its audience, because the audience of old Austin was a learned music listening audience for sure. They knew the music almost as well as the musician, and sometimes they mean you better not mess up words back then. They knew all the words.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. We also could make money living in one band back then, playing in one band.
Yeah.
Somebody would say, what band you belong to? You would say one group. That would be it.
Yeah.
Because that's all you had to do to make money. You could practice, get your show together. So
it's funny because in that model, when you're in the one band, you make progress as a band. But when you're a guy in 15 different bands, you're just always holding it together.
You're just holding it together, man. You're working so much. You're not really creating as much as you are working.
Yeah, you're right.
You
are an artist.
Yeah, I'm an artist.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not interested in that either. So, but that's just me. Everybody has a different reason that they come into the game. Some people come into the game because they're trying to get girls and stuff, and they get there. That would help them get girls because they're going to be a rock star. They're going to be on stage, and it does. It's sad. You get on stage, girls think you look better.
Yes.
But then, but everybody has a different reason why they're doing this. As an artist, we just want to paint. We just want to say what we're trying to say. We're just, it's our expression or whatever. And we're trying to, some of us have a ministry right now. My music has turned into more of a ministry. It is something where I'm using it only for the divine purpose at this point of good conquering evil. In Austin, if the venues can sustain themselves, because right now I heard they're going to have to maybe sustain a longer, since it's been a spike in COVID.
Yeah.
They may have to go to August.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to be a lot left.
No, it's not. I'm just going to tell you.
Unfortunately, there's just not.
I mean, I really, I'm just trying to be that realist, and I try to point out to people a lot of energy on a treadmill means you're still in the same place.
Yes, sir.
You're running real hard. You rev the machine way up, but we're still running on that treadmill. At this point, I can't exhaust those types of things. What I was trying to do, and I think what the older people are trying to do now, that I hope we all are doing, and some of the younger people are taking this in right now from what I'm looking at, is to skip some doors. What I want to give you is some knowledge enough to get to where you could get faster. You can get there, hold position better. You can do a lot better than we do if you don't waste the same amount of time or more time going in and out of doors that are dead ends. I don't want to follow people into those dead end doors. I already went in those. So I can sit back and wait for you to come back out, and then we'll go to the next door. But since the young people are listening now, I think we're going to be able to skip some of those empty bullcrap, deterring doors that just kind of just distract you from the ultimate goal. Record deals. I tell folks, if you understand what you're really doing, you'll be independent. And again, one way is about acceptance into something, and the other way is you're building it yourself. Right. So my thoughts about Austin and the music section or whatever we're going to be doing in the urban music. And let me tell you something else. They do this too in Austin. The wrong leaders are usually enforced heavily, and that's a tactic also. Here's what I figured out about how smooth the board game is. If you're not on the side of the actual oppressor, then you're on the side of the controlled opposition. And it took me a minute to understand that.
Yeah.
they create controlled opposition, you know. And you might be in there thinking you're really doing something, but you're still being manipulated by your opponent, actually. It's Jack, you know. So I only say that I've looked at it long enough and I've been in it deep enough to know that I don't want to jump to the same hoops again. I'd just rather get right to the heart of the issue.
Right. Can I ask you this, Ter'ell?
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about sort of this whole thing that happened with Jackie Venson and Blues on the Green and stuff? Do you know her?
Yes, I know, of course. Yeah, I know Jackie. I'm a very big supporter of Jackie Venson.
Me too.
And I'm very proud of Jackie for just speaking very intelligently about that kind of thing.
But do you feel like I feel like she didn't spend a lot of time going into a bunch of doors that were dead ends. She just found that door and kicked it in.
Well, that was now see, that's a blessing. That's a relationship with Gary Clark Jr. And Gary took off at a very interesting. I actually did a show where I was upset with myself because I didn't give him as much money as I wanted to, and he did an after party show for the Urban Music Fest for me one time at Antone's when it was on Fifth Street there, and so, you know, he wasn't quite there yet, and I think at that time he was kind of concerned, and right after that he blew up. I mean, like it was crazy, like all kinds of stuff to film, bright lights, all this stuff. I actually went on stage to sing Bright Lights with him for when he did it at Antone's again after the big release. And so I was like, you know, if you're in that space, we've all been affected positively because Gary we just happened to be there when this stuff is going. John Dees, who works for me, you know, he's with Gary, and that's how I end up getting a little boost also through John, you know. It's all that stuff is because we're right there, but it's not because of any other reason. I mean, if Gary wasn't there, that's not the same story. You know, it just happens to be. What I'm talking about is having to do it with no Gary Clark. I'm talking about doing it with nobody to springboard off of. You see what I mean? Because really, Gary might be the first big black blues, you know, guy out of Austin, Texas.
Just say that sentence you just said again. Just say it again so you can hear yourself.
First big black blues.
The first big black blues guy out of Austin.
Blues guy out of Austin.
Can you believe that?
You've never. So he's the first. You know, you didn't have anybody get to the stage, to the level, you know, where it could matter really. You know. So, and so I'm proud of all these people, man. But what they had to do to get there, they'll tell you.
Well, do you feel? Sorry. What I meant to say was, as far as the Jackie thing goes, do you feel like that's something that more doors will be opened now that she's sort of?
Yes.
Open.
Yes, I mean, if it matters, yes. But I myself, again, I have to remind, I really don't care to join into their festivals because I have my own festival that I want to create. That is also all inclusive and also, except for when I say all inclusive, it really is all inclusive. You have to ask, why doesn't the city give the money to people that they know exist like me that would do that cross market?
To do this festival. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because I have asked for it. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, you know, and they said back to me that they would do the blocking of the streets. They would do the porta potties, you know, and all that for free, which is a good gesture. I'm not saying that's not that's not nothing. You know what I'm saying? And they were trying to tell us to pick a park, you know, because they're trying to do something with the parks and make, you know, parks that were not being used, use those parks more. And so, and I get all that. The Vallejo brothers did that. They went with Fiesta Gardens. They got that going.
Oh yeah, the thing that Alex had. Yeah.
Right, Alex had.
And sorry, yours is called the Austin Urban Music Festival?
No, I don't have one.
Okay.
Mine is not in existence. They have not funded me ever.
Okay.
I'm saying what they offered me is what I just said they offered me. But, you know, it was no money for mine. They would fund something else. If I was more of a segregated thinker, I believe they would fund me. If I was, you know.
If you came in with an all-black bill.
If I came in with an all-black, because what they're trying to do is segregated. They don't say it with their mouth. What they do is they fund people that have more segregated types of festivals. For me, being an Aquafest lover, we had all the different nights, for each different thing and blah, 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 and everybody. And we ended up going on all the different nights anyway, but we had a theme for each genre, right? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring that back with mine. I have mine has got a unique name, but I'll present it if they ever fund it.
Okay.
I want my own. I think we need our own. If you're going to finance it, fine. But that's how I know there's a war against you. How you know there's a war against you? Because they will not finance an opponent. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They won't finance you. An African-American man can't go get a signature loan. Right. Now, if I got money in the account, I can get a loan against my money that I already have.
Right.
And, if I have a co-signer that's willing to put his thing on the line, I can get certain things done. But my own regular signature loan for me, boom, it's just a good business plan idea. Should like my name, let's start going. That doesn't happen because I'm the opponent. And when it comes down to the musicians and the Black musicians, they're almost looked at like opponents when it comes in. And even with venues, like when they want to get their numbers up, they'll go use all Black formats for a little while. And people will love it, just like they did in Harlem. Speakeasy. White people come all the way into Harlem, go in the back to go see some real good, authentic jazz done that way.
Yeah. So
we could play Stay Gold. And that's what ended up happening. You had all the different nights from D Madness to us to Courtney to, it just went on and on. And, it was doing really well, actually. And that happens every time. It happens every time. And then the night over at
wait, so what happened to Stay Gold? It's still there.
It's still there. They had a change in booking.
Okay.
And they wanted to go a different direction, quote unquote. Normally
that's insulting. Sorry.
No, but they're coming back around. So evidently they're okay. So here's what happens with the come back around. So, okay, so here we go. So a lot of this goes on, and I'm not picking on them because there's a change of guard. This happens also naturally, not just with any bad intention. And I was saying earlier that even with good intention, you can't help but make some of these mistakes, like you were saying, because there's not information. So you end up being on the menu a lot of times just because they don't know what your stance or they don't know what your thing is that they're supposed to be protecting. So by not showing up and saying, this is what we need, this is what we should be protecting, they accidentally run it over a lot of times, and also when you have a change of a booking agent, let's say this booking agent, you gave him all power and he made it this way at this venue. And then all of a sudden you give it to another person who you gave them all power and they just have a whole completely different take on booking. And they don't have any idea about the other, like you said, the other clique. They're in their clique. They know these musicians. They don't know any of these other musicians. And they have enough musicians in their circle to feel like they can contain it. So, they don't go looking to see what happened in the other musician circle. And it may not even be a racial thing at that minute. It just may be that that person's not even thinking at all.
Right.
Thoughtlessness is usually more often the case.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And so I'm just saying that there's a lot of there's so many moving parts in this. There's not a all like this is fixed racism or this, what I'm trying to tell people is that there's so many programs running that have taken us off path and we're so not knowledgeable about each other.
What are the programs?
The programs are your televisions, your entertainment, your mainstream medias, your
social media,
things that are for the masses, things that are to that they know everyone will be very attracted to, and so there's a spin on everything to give you a lot of truth, but bend the context or change it into a lie. And that's more complicated than just telling a flat out lie. a regular flat out lie, you can spot a flat out lie. You can see this person's just flat out lying to me. But then if they make it look a certain way, or if you don't get to see certain pieces of information or whatever, then you don't understand it. And that causes you need to now go get the information. Now I have to go and not sit here and take what you just said on television. I have to go look around, ask around, and all this kind of stuff. Do we have time to do that? Working 2 jobs? It's expensive as hell to live in Austin. I don't think people have, even if they were not lazy, if you were not intellectually lazy, you really don't have the same amount of time that you used to have. You can't sit there and just absorb a book of information. You can't just, I have to read and like get it in on the toilet and stuff. I mean, it's bad, so there's no quick answer for what to do around here. That's what I was trying to tell you. Like with me, there's some venue issues. They don't know something. There's musician issues. They don't know a lot. There's political issues. They don't know a lot. And so this is not going to be something that's going to get fixed like, oh, boom, 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 boom.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, this is like a task that we got to get on, and we've got to look at it from a very, very, very long haul perspective. And then we've got to think about the fact, is everybody going to get on board to understanding not to waste so much time with the dangling a bone in front of your face, as a lot of us call it, like, just giving you a little something, it sounds like it's kind of cool, and then everybody goes home and says it's okay. Like for instance, if this thing happened with Jackie and they were like, sure, you can put this bill together, and then everybody just stopped, and then she got to put that bill together, but we're still in the same place, right? BS, yeah. Right. I told him I'm not sure I would want to play blues on the green. I was like, that's what I was saying. I think what I really think I want is you to fund my festival if you love me like that. I think I want to do it my way. And unapologetically so. I just want to do it my way. I respect that. Right. Now, it's, that everybody else can have their own thing. I don't believe it's an either or. That's another thing I don't like, the word or. I hate the word or, because everybody thinks that way in this new non-critical thinking era. It's always this or that or this. But sometimes it needs to be the word and. Matter of fact, that's right. Most of the time it needs to be the word and. Yeah. So I was telling people, even the folks I don't necessarily agree with how they're moving, I don't necessarily want them to stop. Right. Because they have an angle they're coming from that supports each other, really, at the end of the day. Does anybody really want to talk to Martin Luther King if you're not afraid of what's happening with Huey P. Newton and the Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam at the same time? It makes you want to talk. Yeah. Yeah. It makes you want to talk. So I think everybody needs to stay doing what they're doing. But keep it up. But keep it up, though. I mean, like, it needs to stay like, you can't even, if you dream about, I'll be happy when they dream, if a person even dream about doing something wrong to a person of color, they'll twitch. Yeah. I mean, I want it to be that uncomfortable where they're like, no, I don't want to do that. There needs to be a point of awakening, because just speaking from my own perspective, right? And I considered myself a couple of weeks ago, hey man, I'm not racist, I'm fine, right? Right. That's right. It. You know what I mean? Like, I can't fix everything. I gotta whatever. I got to tune my guitar. I got to change my strings. I got to go to this gig. Right. I got to learn these 5 songs, whatever kind of thing. Right. But I feel like what's happened is that's different than other times. Yeah. That these sort of, like, something horrible happens, everybody comes up to speak on the injustice. Right. They speak on it for a matter of 3 days. Right. And then we all go back to the thing. Yeah, this I feel like there was an awakening. I feel like I see things differently than I did a couple weeks, even just in the minute. And I'm saying, I mean, I've been trying to ingest as much through talking to people, watching documentaries, starting to read a lot of books about this, or just one book at a time, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like you,
there's like a thing where you're like, wait a minute, okay, and hopefully if enough people can do that, then we can start changing things from within.
From within. And I think that all of that has to happen, like you said, at the same time. I think we all really have to participate like that. I mean, it has to be a conscious participation, because what we're doing right now, like you said, is that 2 or 3 day thing. It took me 6 months to put the busking law in, right? And I was on the commission for 3 years total. You know, it takes that kind of, and then after I did it, see, I still haven't been able to follow it. You know what I mean? So I got the language changed and I got it put into the paperwork, right? But I've never been able to go around and follow to see if cops are doing that right. You know, I don't know if they're following that correctly, if it's being enforced properly. I don't know. So I'm just saying, I'm not pointing at anyone else. I'm pointing at me here. I want folks to know I'm not pointing at you without me. I'm saying it's very tough. It's easy to say, yeah, we'll follow it. Yeah, we'll stay. But man, when you really see how much hours that is, how many out of your life and how much time you got to commit to that.
Just to make busking legal. Think about all the other things.
Legal, man. Like, yeah, I mean, dang, like, so I'm just like, and I had some real issues down there. I mean, one guy got fired. I think he was so racist. I think he blew a gasket. That's what I think happened. I was there and we were doing the thing, and I was coming up with a music program. I came up with a program that I don't know if they're ever going to do it. It may not matter now. But it was the way to get laminates, okay, for sound engineers. Because it's a deregulated industry. There's no regulation on that. So anybody can say they're a sound man. And many, many, many of us out there have run into terrible soundmen. We've all got stories where we want to kill everybody. And so here's the thing. And actually, sound ordinance, a lot of issues there come from bad sound engineers. So what a lot of them don't know how to use is compressors. Okay, I'm just going to call them out. Some of y'all don't know how to use compressors and gates. Okay, I'm a sound engineer, so I can talk to you like that and not flinch. Because you don't know how to use compressors and gates and understand EQs and how to hit the ceiling and stop that from ringing, not with frequency. Not with volume, but with frequency. It's not a volume knob issue. It's a frequency spike issue. So anyway, those of you who don't understand these things, you don't need to be behind those. You need to get out from behind that.
No, that's a really good,
right.
Yeah.
and so I'm going to go ahead and put it like this. So I had a program that I talked to a lot of people, 3 or 4, even Reverend Dave. I had to do Greg Stegall. I had Dennis Zamora. A lot of folks, we sat around. I called them all. I put together this program for sound engineering that would give you a laminate, just like you can go to a first-time home buyers course in Austin. I'm a realtor. And so I tell people to go to the first-time home buyers course. It's free, right? Free course. And you don't have to. It doesn't make you have to do it. But if you do it, you're going to get a lot of perks. You're going to understand what the realtor's saying to you. You're going to understand what the mortgage lender's saying to you. You're going to understand these things. So I came up with a program that said, what if we make it easy on the venue owner who doesn't know sound? He's just going to hire his homeboy. He says he knows sound or whatever. And what if he can say that anyone who has this laminate, he could at least bet that they know, basic sound engineering. That means they've gone to the city, taken the testing, whatever, went through the little program, got their laminate. Everybody who's already a good sound man could pretty much ace it without even studying. But the point being that now no one could just walk up and claim I'm a sound man, and you just have to take that at face value. As a venue owner, I could say, all right, well, I see you, I know you, and you're great, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with this guy with this laminate because I know. Now they came at me. Did you hear me at any time? Did I say I was going to make sound engineers in Austin take this course?
No,
I never said that. So it was weird. It was like when I turned in the thing.
Like you have to turn in a proposal with your idea of what it's going to be.
Right. I turned in a proposal about what I thought was going to happen. And immediately I started getting these weird questions. But, well, how are you going to make everybody take this class? I didn't say I was going to ever make them take it. I said it was going to be offered. So the word offered, last time I checked, this is your language, right? I'm in your land. Are we? Okay. So I said we're going to offer the program to people so that if they want to take it, they can have it. And this may help them get hired, and it may also help the venue owner hire competency. they do things to pull at your, to bait you. I read a book called The Bait of Satan. Everybody should read it. And they do a lot of these things to try to, it's like they just start doing crazy, weird stuff to make you just very frustrated, you know. But I caught on to, at this point, I was a little bit more mature in my life. I was older, and I was able to, you know, kind of see where this guy was starting to do. And he was just the guy that recorded the sessions at the commission. He was just the guy who, he wasn't even a dude that was important to me. He was just the dude that recorded what we did and put it in the archive, and it showed on television. Mm-hmm. And I put together this deal, and believe it or not, UT came and sat in this house where I'm at right now, at my house, and talked to me about the program, because another friend of mine, Phil Redmond, was at UT already working out on a program for them himself. Another guy that's a friend of mine that's deep into programming and musicians and, you know, engineering. So we talked about it. And they had actually said, we believe this program we're looking at is better than the one that we're dealing with. It's just ironic. That's just a side note, because it comes up later on when I'm trying to leave the commission meeting. And I'm talking to them about this. And this guy comes out from behind, after the meeting's over, he comes out from behind the recording stuff and everything. And he goes, man, come on. Do you really think that, you know, that you're going to get this thing to, you know, to move through? Do you really think your program is better than University of Texas? And I answered to him, I know so. Because they told me so themselves, sitting in my house, you know. And by my own account, because I don't need somebody else to tell me when something's better. I don't need the approval. I say, yes, it is better. But it's not about, I wasn't trying to compete with UT. I don't know why competing with UT has anything to do with, you know, me wanting them to offer a program at the city level so that engineers could sign up for it and get a laminate proving that they understood competently what they were doing behind, you know, the channels. You know, the kind of treatment we get is what I'm saying inside. Right. They even took me to the side. They said, and I'm tempted to call this dude's name out because I don't really like him, but I'm not. He knows who he is, so, you know, hopefully he'll shut up, be real quiet. But he took me to lunch at Spaghetti Warehouse. We used to have a place called Spaghetti Warehouse back then when I was on the commission.
Yeah. I used to call that place the Diarrhea Palace, by the way, because I never ate there and didn't have diarrhea the next day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And he took me, you know, I knew something was wrong because I would never hang out with this dude. Anyway, he took me to, I want to take you very rare to Spaghetti Warehouse, and I want to talk to you. And I already knew what was going to happen. But I had created a few programs there. Like I said, I've done some stuff, budgets, the busking, and I go, and he told me, say, look, man, and I put my name on purpose, by the way. I put my name on the programs when I turned them in. And I also turned them in as basic blueprints, by the way. That's why y'all can't steal them properly at the city, by the way. It's because I don't give you everything I know, as my stepmother said. But I gave you the basic understanding. He took me there and asked me to take my name off of my programs. See? And, you know, anybody who knows me, knows Ter'ell, they know my answer was that it was not nice. And I told him, you know, no, I'm not going to do that because I want the same thing you want. I want recognition from my thoughts in my brain so that they'll come back to me again, and I can get those contracts. And I can get that, you know, my company can consult, right? But you're asking me to take my name off. Now, I knew that was going to happen, and so I'm going to say, no, you just have to steal it, like I knew you were going to do in the first place. And that's the way I dealt with it. And after that, they started moving me off the commission. They tried to say, you know, we don't need him on there. He smokes weed, while most of them are in there snorting cocaine. I won't call no names, but if anybody steps out, I will chop you. I mean, it's that simple. But anyway,
I thought in Austin, the music commission, like the prerequisite was you probably couldn't get in there unless you smoked weed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I would have thought it would have been, you know. But anyway, the idea was, you know, he's got to go now. He's a problem. He's a troublemaker. I'm not a yes man. They were giving money budgets to Austin music Foundation that were ridiculous, $10,000 a year. They were giving music to other things that were there's no money. The lowest all the other nonprofit parts of the city, everybody else is getting at least 50,000 or above. Ballet and all that other stuff that they call real music. And
you're talking about the cultural arts division. Yeah.
Cultural arts division. Yeah. They get 350 and the other one gets, anyway, my point being this, $10,000 really? I mean, so, that was spitting in the face of the music community anyway.
But that's $10,000 being too low of a figure.
Yeah, that's not a budget for the Austin Music Foundation. And then when they did raise it to $40,000 for them and $40,000 for sound check and a few other things, they put this dude in I'm talking about that took me to Spaghetti Warehouse as the guy who's the boss. He did eventually get fired because he messes up so much with chicks and things like that behind the scenes. He doesn't know I know that. But the bottom line is that they moved him out of the way, but now he still consults for the city. See, because his wife works at the city. Okay, and she's high up. Now, when I walk in the room down there, people get real uptight because of the information I have and the knowledge that I've got. They don't want to see me at all down there. And most of them are newbies. Most of them are they're not in Austin long enough to know the information I have.
Right.
What has to happen is we got to really get more, my answer still to the music community and everybody about everything in this country. We have to be more aware of what they're doing, more aware of how they're playing. Are y'all aware of how they steal money? It's not even illegal. Like how they steal money at the, city level, These are the things we got to understand. Those things, they end up sometimes in a racial thing, but it's really more of a money thing and in hiding, a lot of the dirt and nasty stuff they do back there. I'd be glad when the federal government come down here and audit them, So
let me ask you this: it's just all those records are public. You can go and see this stuff for yourself.
That's right. You can always go.
You should take it upon yourself to make some kind of video where you can walk people through it and show them how. Because were I to go down there and try and look through their records, I wouldn't know what they were stealing or where they're stealing from. Because I wouldn't know where to start looking.
Somebody had to show me. Actually, I won't name her but she already got kicked out of there because they were afraid of her right away. She worked in the office. But the real problem is our city managers, they're not elected officials.
They're appointed.
They're appointed and they stay there. And so it doesn't matter about votes for them. They're usually not from here. They don't know anything about our culture. And Cheryl Cole made it clear to me that a lot of things that we say to stand up for, we don't show up as constituents to back them up when they stick their neck out and they end up getting their heads chopped off. So, I had to be shown, I went in very hyped up too and very thinking I knew how I was going to get it fixed and all this and that. But when they showed me how this game is played and how crooked and sometimes how evil, and they set it up that way to where it's actually legal to do these things. For instance, it's legal for a person to get a kickback that's a mayor or a even a high councilman. As long as you're not, if you're not more than 5% involved in whatever transaction that there is out there in that company, then you can still vote.
So people are voting with their own self-interest.
Well, shoot, after I learned how to play the game, I can tell you right now, I can get in there and work some jelly right now. If investors come working with me, I'll get in there and and sweep through that thing. I mean, yes, because they've got it set up to be able to do it. It's off the clock. This is how you do it. You didn't take a bribe if you're not on the clock. The thing is, and also if you legally can own this much in it, you can shift this kind of stuff around until later and then pay it out, later on when they're done with their bid, working for the city or whatever.
Right.
And you also have the same thing where they take money that they sent to us from the federal government. Y'all remember Rick Perry getting mad? He took a letter all out to Obama. He was marching all out to his plane. And he was just mad about the strings attached. He was all up in arms. Rick Perry, boy, they really had him upset. Well, the strings attached was the federal government has started making them not be able to do what I'm about to explain right now, where you get money. Y'all remember for them stupid metro trains, $68 million, stuff like that up front. And then the first people that were going to put the train together, they failed. Y'all should remember this. If you don't, go back. And then they fired them. And then they put in another company, and then they finished the train, but we gave them another 60-something million dollars. These are proposals. Y'all should go back.
But the first train, I'm sorry, just to quickly for my own and probably anybody listening, in my memory of it, there was initially a train plan that went down Congress.
Yeah, but I'm talking about how much it was to build that.
Right. But that's the first one, right?
Right.
And then the second one just takes you somewhere I don't even go.
Right. But I don't even talk to the second one. I don't got to get the second. I'm going to stay on the first one.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
They failed. The first company failed. I didn't say they finished the train. I said the first company to come in to do the train failed and got fired. You got to pay very close attention to this section. This is where stealing happens. And when, the next guys come in and they hire the real guys that are going to really finish the job, then they ask for more money and they put money into it, and somebody that actually knows what they're doing finishes everything. But if you were the first company, didn't you just get some money for not even really finishing the job? Like, you got started and you fumbled around and flailed, but you left with a lot of money though already in the deposit to do the job. See what I'm saying?
Yep. Sorry, I'm taking notes.
I'm just being real. Like, if I hire you and me and we're buddies, you create the company. You go in and come on. I'm gonna own 5% of your company.
Yep.
For the record, you come in, I'll give you the bid. You just hire some people, they screw up, they don't do a very good job, but you've already made the money, you put it away, you get fired, now they do the other one. And the other one comes in and they actually figures it. But that first one walked off with a bunch of money. And, if you and me later on, when I'm done, you're going to pay me out for that hookup. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I do.
And there you are.
Those are things, yeah. Those are things that are equated with like Chicago politics, but these are things that go on not as over the table everywhere.
Right. It's everywhere. Every city. What happens is we steal so much in Austin, we can't get the roads right. We steal so much. We're behind 20 years on like development and stuff. We've been since they annexed Circle C. We've been in a fight about how they spend the money on this stuff.
That's another wealthy neighborhood, right?
That's right. That was a long time ago, right? And so I'm just telling y'all that like the depth of it is what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on everybody to get to the depth of it because, yes, everything you're seeing is wrong. So everything that everybody's seeing is absolutely wrong. I'm in 100% support of going further in these directions, all of them, from more people being accepted to Blues on the Green. My personal opinion for me is different. I would love to see them accepting and doing more and accepting, but I don't need them to accept. I feel like a lot of that, it's like, does anybody really want to, like, if you have to beg for a kiss when they give you the kiss, does it matter really? I mean,
I know exactly what you mean.
I don't want to beg for no kiss from you, man. I'm like, so my attitude is just, okay, that's good. I'm glad y'all are putting more people in, all that. I just really want my own. I'm all about Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm all about not only building it, but then protecting it this time,
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with us doing the same thing it says that we were able to do. We can fortify, we can be militarized, we can make security teams. There's no reason why we shouldn't. We got rich people now. We can't even say there's not rich people around us now that could help do these things. My grandmother didn't have billionaire Black people around. She didn't know any millionaire Black people. So we do.
Yeah.
And so I'm calling out on them. I'm just going to turn it back. Like I'm ready for someone to do something where we can just like, we do what we do.
So go back to like socially integrated, but as far as like give us back our neighborhoods and take your white convenience stores out of there and all, like we'll bring in our own businesses.
They don't have to even take them out. They can stay there. I'm just saying we just funding ourselves. Like instead of going to their bank, we use our own lending groups. We do this in real estate all the time. They create lending groups instead of going to banks to do projects.
I heard an economist talk about this on NPR last week, and just kind of about that idea of the neighborhood and the fact that what's crushed the black community the most is that their own economy has been taken out of their system.
It's taken. We got great ideas. We created everything: air conditioning, sugar. What do you call it? How they make that the stealing? What do they do to make the sugar refining the sugar? Right. Stoplights, brain surgery. We do everything. We create alphabet, geometry. We are the creatives. We create. But we don't have intellectual ownership
of those things. Yeah.
Of those things.
Yeah.
That in the past has had to happen. Nothing wrong with those people back then. They didn't have the opportunities and they didn't have a choice. They had to do it that way. But we don't have to do it that way.
No.
And I don't even want to do it that way. I mean, I'm like, Spike Lee said this when he first came in. He got to have it. He had to do that on credit cards, 2 or 3 credit cards. And when they interviewed him, y'all don't believe me if y'all forgot, go back, watch the interview about it. Is when he got to the next film, and I forgot which one it was pretty big.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. And he asked him about it, he said, really, he shouldn't have to ask Hollywood for nothing. And that's absolutely true, because why should I ask Hollywood for any budget? Man, we got Oprah Winfrey, Mike Jackson, Bill Cosby, Magic Johnson. I don't need to ask them for the budget on the film. You know what I mean? I don't want to go ask those devils for anything. I want to do it myself. And I want us to think about it that way. That's my thought on it. Everyone else can have their own opinion how it works, but I haven't seen the other ways work yet, because, we have to stay on it so hard that we lose. That's very tiring. I mean, that's not to say that it's bad for us if we don't stay on it. Who's going to stay on something? It took them a long time to take over all this government. It took these Masons a long time to Blue Lodge every police department to death. That's something else y'all may not know. Blue Lodge Masons, police. Go ask them about it. That's just a security company. Be honest with you, all of them could be employed at the sheriff's department or the highway patrol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things are the way they are because it's a design. And I'm just trying to get folks to realize that design we're unaware of because we don't really know the true design. We're learning the true design.
Yeah.
And I'm learning the true design. But as I'm learning it, I'm learning that I don't want to fight in futile arguments and futile battles that don't produce. Magic is what's happening a lot of times.
Yeah.
Magic is the art of misdirection. And to misdirect you, they have to use something very, very good too, to make you, to get you into it. So this stuff that's happening, I don't want to minimize it. I want people to know that we need to do everything, all of that. We need to make sure that you don't do it on a physical level. You don't bother us. You don't bother us on a spiritual level. Musically in Austin, what I was doing when I was building 115, to talk about the venue I was building, I had a venue called 115. 4 of us put that, 5 of us, but me and Kelvin Gertie, we came up with a business plan. He worked on that thing with me for 5 years. So y'all can understand my emotion about some of the things that have failed and why I'm upset the way I am about some of it, is because this is 5 black men. And when we're building this thing, my other homeboy, I won't even mention their names. I'm not gonna start more fighting in the community, but they know we've already spoken about these things. One of my other partners I brought in, he brought me to the money guy. The money guy comes and sees that we actually have everything ready in writing. All the numbers are worked out, the blah, blah, blah. And me and Kelvin, I say, Kelvin, man, we got a guy that's going to do this. And this guy brought him to us, man. And, I can't believe it. And we start looking around, and I actually kind of get into real estate because of this, because at this time I'm bringing more and more people to the Downtown Alliance president down there. And he's like, letting me know that I could be getting paid.
Yeah.
Bringing people
yeah.
into lease space. I could probably get my license. But anyway, thanks for the suggestion, Bob. I didn't. Anyway, but we're down there, and I get this really good rent, and the guy's willing to work with us on all these different things. And I bring in my lawyer I had at the time, 5 years. I bring him in. So you can be the lawyer over the corporation, the two corporations. We had one for the operation and one for the side of the case. You're selling stock. People could buy shares. And so we're creating 150. I'm the president, and then the CEO is the guy that is obviously the money guy. And we create this thing, and we get to build it from the ground up there at 115 San Jacinto. We get to pretty much tear the pipe. Go down to the pipes when I mean from the ground up, not the building, but the inside. We get to pretty much gut the whole thing and build what ends up becoming 115, which after that was Brass House for a long time. And then I don't know what it is after that. But Randall Owen, what's up? Great architect. He helped us build that.
So why did it fall through?
So here we go. This is what I'm talking about with our own committee. So with me, without putting everybody's dirty laundry out there, because I don't think I want to, what I want in the Black community is I don't want us airing out dirty laundry. What I really want, that's why I've spared a few people in this interview. Like I said, don't step out of line. You will get checked. But the thing is that internally, we're not working right. When we see big money on the table, when money hits the table, when everybody wants to shift everything at that time, and that's not going to serve us well. I mean, that's why I say, like, with military stuff, what I do like about military is you have to keep your rank. You have to stay in your position. You don't jump up over the sergeant doesn't jump up over the general. Once everything kicks in, it's really important that everybody stay in their lane and do their part and just let it be that way. When you hear us talk about crabs in a bucket, we have a saying in the Black community. We'll say, we got this crabs in a bucket issue. Well, a lot of people love to say it, but a lot of the ones that talk about it, they doing it. I mean, like, the person that's the most qualified should always sit in any particular position. So if I got a guy over here, like in my team with real estate, I got a guy that's a financial guy. That's what he does. He creates programs for finance. That's all he does. I know finance too. I actually was going to go to like a Ameritrade. I was going to work at but I'm not in it every day. I'm a realtor now. Yeah. It's not my place. Yes, I'm going to learn and he's going to teach and I'm going to get some stuff from him, but I'm not going to sit in his position.
Right.
When he's actually doing deals where he's talking about real estate, guess what? He calls me and says, hey, man, can you come to the meeting? Because they're going to be talking a lot of real estate jargon and I don't want to, mess up anything. I'm talking, financial jargon,
Right.
So what I'm trying to tell folks is it's not I'm trying to be above you or someone's trying to be being in your place. You got to stop being upset for hearing that. Everybody gets mad when you hear get in your place. Like you think it's a negative.
You mean like stay in your lane kind of thing? In
your lane, yeah. However, if your wording bothers you, that's why you need to go to the military. Where you just have to take wording you don't like.
Yeah.
Because that's keeping y'all from growing. This whole I don't like it when you talk to me this
coddling,
way.
I can't hear the truth for what it is. It needs to be wrapped in a Twinkie. So
it needs to be wrapped
good.
Well, then dive in out there. Dive in. Don't nobody want to hold you like that. I mean, we don't have time for that.
I'm with you, yeah.
Right. So it comes to do we really want to win? If we want to win, I want to win.
Yeah.
But in order to win, we really will have to be a little bit better equipped. And that's not just like talking about getting guns or anything. I'm talking about like just better equipped and understanding and having knowledge of what we're dealing with, who's pulling the strings, how come they do it that way. We call for things that are important. Do you know they give the judges $10,000 for prosecution?
No, I didn't.
They give them a $10,000 bonus. They have incentive to put you in prison. I want that gone.
Yeah, me too. I've never even heard of that.
I'm just saying, like, if you ask me, I'm gonna start pointing to things I know about. You can take that out right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We could go on, you know, like this would be an 8-hour interview. I'm not gonna go on, but the point being that there's so much that we don't know how they do this stuff, you know, and why they do this stuff. So when they do this stuff, I'm like, man, we got to, you know, the more I find out, the more I'm like, we don't know anything. I mean, that's the way I feel, like, you know, and I know a whole lot from just doing that, and I still don't know enough. And I'm looking at people that don't know anything, if you ask me, like the way that they're, you know, functioning. They're functioning with a lot of energy and not a real focused target.
Right.
So in music community right now, with my experience, like getting in the venues and stuff like that, they use us in certain ways, yes. But I wanted to have our own venue. That's what I was doing with 115. Taking over certain blocks. There was other venue owners that we knew that were willing to do stuff. We let stuff foreclose too without realtors doing stuff for us. That's another thing that takes power out of our hands. It takes money out of our pockets. And these are some people that they know me. I'm not naming them, but we've all had these conversations off the clock and unofficially.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Right.
Okay. How are we going to win like that? I mean, we got to win differently. So I'm hoping that the young people don't repeat what we're doing. That's what I hope. I hope they do something that's not spinning your wheels, because we've got some young guys that really are the bomb. I'm around them, man. I mean, I'm very impressed. I was just talking to two guys up there. I was talking to John Dees and Nick Clark, and they were telling me about some stuff, and I'm just very impressed with a lot of younger cats. But are the right people going to get the voice? Are they going to be the ones in the lead?
I hope so.
Well, we hope. Let's, you know, I mean, we can hope.
Do you like in? I'm not trying to sort of like push this into some solution oriented thing, but is there? I mean, do you believe that getting involved and having your voice heard through voting, and not just the presidential election, but also the down ballots, your city councilman, the mayor, the people that affect you directly, the judges, the sheriffs who arrest you, you know what I mean? Right. The judges who prosecute you. You have a choice who these people are.
That's right. It's your local governments. I'm telling you, that is it. That where all your energy, because if every city controls its local government the way they want, guess what? It looks different.
Looks completely different.
But it's a local thing. Again, this is the magic trick. They got y'all looking way over there.
Yep, they sure do. That's the truth.
There. Right.
And we don't, it doesn't seem sexy. Right. Like that judge isn't on TV every day. I can't get into an argument with my friend Dave on Facebook over policy because it's just too deep of a subject. You can do like, I don't like this guy. I like this guy. That's as far as those arguments go. That's
it. I mean, you know, we're being distracted. Well, So I'm go ahead.
Do you have any resources for people like to educate themselves on their local government? Like, how does one do that? I know that you do that, and that newspapers and things kind of give you those resources, but they're not, you know, they say it on the news like, hey, you can go and check out this thing. We tell you what all these people stand for, and you can find them yourself. Do you have a way that you do this research and find out the truth about these people?
Well, it's really difficult, man. I wish I had a better answer, because for me, I go out a lot in my line of business in real estate. My wife's a property manager. We are already in conversations a lot of times that lead to people that are in power in certain areas. We've already around. So I end up sometimes learning things in a very odd way because I'm just talking to somebody who knows somebody who's in the circle, and I'm getting the information kind of on some accidental, type of stuff, really. I mean, and then there's other stuff where I'm researching when it comes to the law. Then it got my attention when I was dealing with my kids. A lot of people don't know that I went through a lot of stuff. My kids were basically kidnapped, actually, in my opinion, from here for a long time ago. And I had a lot of crazy stuff going on with my family and all of that. And I was dealing with the two lawyers. I had a lawyer one and I had lawyer two. And lawyer one kind of said, the things I was asking him, I had learned a little bit about the law, and I asked him a few questions, and I never heard these answers. Unfortunately, I've been in a lot of trouble when I was young. Anyway, there was a lot of trouble, and I dealt with a lot of lawyers, and the lawyers had never, ever said something like this back to me. And that's why I knew that knowing the law the way I knew it affected things. It changed things, because the lawyer told me, I'm going to send you over to this other lawyer because he's got jurisdiction for where you are. But from what you're telling me, maybe you might need to go do this by yourself. Now, you got to think about, this is such a huge case to me that I'm thinking, by myself? Are you insane? And I go with this other lawyer, and the other lawyer's got 3 stars behind him. He's ranked high. He's like, as far as, their ranking systems of whatever they call it in lawyering. And so he's written books and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going in there, and he says later on, after I started asking him about certain questions, like, the judge stepping down from the bench and magistrate and having to deal with the cases as a magistrate,
right?
Which most people may not know what the difference is. It's the same judge, the same room, but he's not representing the bench because the bench represents money.
Right.
Y'all can keep that as a freebie. The bench represents money and not ethics. Ethics have nothing to do with the bench. So when you want ethical kinds of rulings, you really want it to be a magistrate type of thing where it's not about commerce, and it can be a crime based on ethics. So I was asking about, should I even try to request this, because I had learned this recently, and I'm talking to them, and I saw their faces change right away. And lawyers' faces don't change very much. They usually got the poker face. So, I see the lawyers kind of going, oh, dang, okay. So I'm talking a little bit further. I'm talking about my case. We're going in. I'm saying, well, I'm talking about this, and this. And do I need to put in this kind of affidavit? And do I need to blah, blah? And the lawyer says to me, this lawyer that's really high up costs a lot of money, I can tell you, because I paid him. He says, maybe you might actually be more effective going in on your own. Now, why would they say that? The reason why they said that is because of what you're talking about right now, because they can't tell me what I'm talking about any further. They can't go further with me down the road I'm talking about, because they are officers of the court.
Right. And
where I'm going is about free people, freedom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they can't go in there and help you with that. They can help you with your bond. They can help you with your name on the bond. They can, but we look at them a certain way because we're brought up to believe lawyers are certain things or whatever. When you go study on your own, the answer I guess I'm trying to tell you is no one, unfortunately, the bad news is nobody is going to bring you the information.
Right.
No one.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. If you want to know how to be free in this country, you'll have to do that by yourself, I'm telling you. Because if someone tells you what's going on, you won't believe them anyway. But I got a book you could check out, though. I've got all my people looking at this book. I don't mind people looking at a few books. This is one that I think
this is just we're doing video, but the people only hear it. There's no video.
Okay, there's no video.
So just tell me the name of it.
So for anybody who cares, check out the UCC Connection.
The new what?
The UCC.
The UCC Connection.
How to free yourself from legal tyranny.
Okay.
And let's see here. So
okay.
Where is the author here? Yeah, check that out. It's Howard Freeman. Yeah.
What is it?
It's about Howard Freeman, I think, is the author.
Okay, Howard Freeman.
Yeah.
Great.
But anyway, yeah.
What do you have any other ones people should talk about?
I have I have a whole bunch. I have enough for us to do several interviews.
Okay. Well, maybe you can send me a list. I actually have about 11 minutes left before I have to bail. So
yeah, now thank God, because I'll talk you to everybody know I'll talk you to death. Those of y'all out there, don't talk mess about me. I know y'all talking about how long I talk, but
no one's ever talked longer than Brandon on this show.
But Brandon did. That's right. Sorry. Brandon did. He did longer than that.
He did the longest anyone's ever done, and I've had some long ones.
So I'm not the longest winded now. Yeah. He gets to take my place, man.
But Ter'ell, any sort of like parting words is sort of like I feel like you gave a lot of information, but is there any sort of advice that you can give? Because I think you're around my age. You're around 50.
I'm 49. That's right. I'm right up on.
Yeah. I'm 51.
I turned 49 this year. That's right.
Yeah, we're all kind of the same age.
Right.
Is there something you want to pass along to the younger people about your experience and sort of like how to keep this momentum going?
I can tell them that it is a sacrifice to do so, because the best people to represent us are people like us.
Yeah.
Now, there's people like us that are evil. There's people like us that are good. We got to get a good person like us, that's a musician, and a few of them. And like you said, as they're starting this right now, they just got to get a commitment to continue training to where if they cut down 2 of you, there's 2 more to replace you. It just needs to be a constant so that we know it will never be like we're never going to let off the gas. I mean, it just has to be that kind of way. It's perpetual war. It's a warfare. I feel like when I walk around now, we're at war, and the laws don't pertain to me because they're not for me.
Right. They're not there to protect you.
Right. So America's not used to this kind of crazy stuff. I mean, and this is not territory we're used to being in. People in Libya have been through that. Bosnia, sure. Somalia, Egypt, Greece. But I knew they were going to eventually knock on our door. So we just have to be, I would say at the end to say that musicians, man, this is a very deep time. And it says in the scriptures a lot of things about what happens to us and how we have to deal with it. We may not all have to we may have to leave sometime. I mean, at some point, look, man, if your country eventually messes all the way up, you may have to go somewhere else. Or run the people out. It happens all the time. You have to run the people out that that are messing it up. It's usually not that many people, believe it or not. There's just a few of them at the top running everything. So a lot of times they've been kicked out of other countries even sometimes. So you either have to kick them out or you have to leave. I feel like that's where we're at now. Like, I don't know that we're going to be able to patch it all up.
Well, that makes me sad.
Right. I mean, but if we take over, if we just dominate the area, it's more fun. I mean, I hate to say we have to have that ambition. It's hard, but
I totally hear it, and I from you and from that economist, and it makes sense in my head. But there's some way I've got to be able to look at it where it doesn't look like segregation again to me. Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's
yeah.
And maybe the segregation has to be those of us that want to live together. We have our own little bubble too. Maybe a third party.
Weird white militias can go have Wisconsin or whatever, wherever they.
Right. Like maybe, okay. So people that want to be together, we get this state. Okay. Like.
Well, I mean, you look at it, it's almost like Israel.
Right. Right. You see? And I mean, and look, and there's a lot going on there. So I'm just telling y'all, I just say research, man, learn these. Don't learn it because you believe or don't believe. Read these texts. I'm telling you, start learning more about what's going on in the world from the beginning, the historical understanding of it, musically too, minstrels. All of us need to understand that there's a battle going on for us, even as musicians.
Yeah.
That if you're spiritual, you know that there was Lucifer and David. So we just know that there's a fight over us. And we need to get ourselves together, by ourselves.
Speaking of music, I did enjoy listening to your music. I never even got to that.
No, man,
for the last couple of days. It's I don't know. It's good to connect with you. It's
man. Thank you. I hope you stay connected.
We need to. We need to. It kind of breaks my heart to know that we've seen each other and never sat down and had a drink or, you know.
He keeps us busy. This world keeps us very.
It's true.
Very, very busy.
Yeah.
And we gotta say no. You're just gonna make the time sometimes. Say we're gonna hang out. That's we gotta go.
Yeah. So the title of this show is "My People Suffer for Their Lack of Knowledge."
That's it.
That's you, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much, Ter'ell. Is there any last thing? I know there's a whole other show in us.
I mean, I
least.
have forever. I got it going on for weeks. But it's like I don't have. Each story is so long, and that's what I tell people. That's why I don't want to. I can't go through my life because I've been very busy like you, and it's like a lot.
Yeah.
You know what? Bevis is the same.
Yeah.
All of Brandon, we've done so much. How can we even fit? What happened to us?
Yeah.
Into anything, but thank you for trying to at least get the idea of like, look, racism is really big. It's a huge landmark, but evil is still the overlying point.
I'm going to write that down. Okay. Thank you so much for doing the show, Ter'ell.
Appreciate for having me. Thank you for having everybody that comes on. I want to say thank you to everybody that came on here. All you guys that were on here talking. God bless you. Thank you for that because we need to have discussion. There's more coming, and I appreciate your time. I know that. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate giving it to you. Thank you for yours. Well, let's do it again, and let's stay in touch. We have each other's numbers, so. Yeah, it's on. It's on and popping. You take it easy. Thanks, Ter'ell.
In the game of pimping, sometimes, a good pimp got to square off with a bad pimp. And really, the bad pimp is a hoe anyway, so he really just got to get back in his place. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta know your enemy to understand his way. Look beyond his mind, live inside his pain. There is soul that's naked, inside all the shame. Behold all those who live in spite, lust, fortune, and fame. Well, listen, sluts, do not fear, cause your neighborhood pimp is here. Let me see your applications, and one of my family will check your skills. Heard that you wanted to test me, thought you could take my throne. Heard it through the grapevine that you was trying to take me out in my own home. Well, I figured you lost your bird, must have strayed away from the word. And you cannot see that Ter'ell Shahid is chosen to lead you to your milk and honey. Can you take my shine? Well, I don't think so. Stick really try to steal what's mine. Fool, I don't think so. No, these gifts belong to me. These are tools for my show. Whoa, brothers always too blind to see. I'm ordained as a love PIMP. Oh, stay born in fear, full of anxiety. Never can the minds be still, victims of society. Moving ever closer to your grave, every day you're more insane. Jealous of the peace that you see in me. Famous or not, I'm still the same. I ain't gonna change. See, I'm that pimp that digs in the waist just to pull you out. Look, baby, I can take you to heaven if you listen and shut your mouth. But most of y'all think I'm tripping, just because you been creeping, killing our people with these nursery rhymes. I got to police y'all fast. You can call me Shaft. Weak people trying to take my shine. I don't think so. Slick really try to steal what's mine. Fool, I don't think so. Nah, these belong to me. These are tools for my show. Yes, it is. Brothers always too blind to see. I'm ordained as a love PIMP. Now there's brothers that can't see, sisters that can't listen. Cain killed Abel, so brother, stop tripping. It's you who be trying to keep me from my shine. My own people
trying to take what's mine, falsifying and lying in every church. Santa Claus getting in the way of Jesus' birth. All you rappers asleep, I hope you wake up. Ladies, there's more to life than hair, nails, and makeup. I see brothers that stupid rolling on 22s. Grill, three-piece suit, and matching tennis shoes. Girls all over your back but don't like you. Another pimpin' come with more and she'll spite you. I don't fake mine, everything you see is real. Man, I ain't fine, but I got the sex appeal. And I'm not defined by all the things I got. God gave me purpose and I'm sure it kinda makes you hot. Not shine, I don't think so. Now, get a try to steal what's mine. Fool, I don't think so. No, things must be wrong to me. He gives him tools for my show. He gave me always too blind to see. I'm ordained as a love PIMP. Yeah, not shine. No, I don't think so. I don't think so.